Alright, so it's Friday morning and it's a cleaning, well, Friday is always cleaning day, but today's a little bit different because I'm cleaning tea, so that's the start for today. I got a bunch of stuff dried from last week, so this is, I guess it's like wild, I think they call it wild chamomile. I know it as pineapple weed, but I just dried it. I put it on outside in the sun, and now I'm just taking it off the stalk and separating the actual leaves and the flowers. And I know some folks will focus just on the flowers, but because there's a good bit of flavor there, I take the thing as basically a whole. I just leave the stalks out because I don't see much there, but maybe the chickens will enjoy that. Alright, so most of the house is clean, and I'm looking forward to coffee, but I can't justify the time quite yet. And yeah, where I'm right now, I just got the mower the mower is running, okay? I'm just fiddling around with it's an ongoing process. Like I said, I'm no mechanic, but it runs. I'm just, I'm still in the process of checking plugs once in a while, so I'm gonna run it for a bit. But right now I got it hooked up to this wagon, and I'm going out. I have an old straw bale back there, and I'm gonna mulch the tomatoes. And I think that's something that really needs to be enforced around here is the importance of mulching. I think it's something that is lacked upon. But I remember a long time ago. I remember that feels like the Lord pressed that upon me, how important mulching was. When you have that great epiphany and all of a sudden it just wraps around, and I don't know why I let that go by. I mulch a lot around already, but it's I think I gave too much credit to the compost, and I believe that would be in its own right a mulch, but it isn't. That's basically on its way to being soil, but that needs to be covered just as much as soil does. So I'm gonna get that straw, and I'm gonna spread that around the tomatoes. I would honestly like to spread the whole grain patch back there, and I've got plans for grains coming up. So I actually just ordered fall rye and wheat. And I'm really considering growing a winter crop like that, and then having another grain source about, and just having a perpetual mulching technique. And I'm going through a Japanese man's work, Masanobu Fukuwoku. I'm not Japanese, so I'll butcher that, but he had some interesting insights on at least traditional Japanese agriculture and why it worked. So, mimic nature, do what works, and I'm gonna go load that wagon full of straw, and I'm gonna get some ground covered, because nature, she liked to be modest. Alright, so progress is being made. Figure there's a nice little highlight. There's the potatoes coming up. I planted a bunch of stuff around with what I call squirrel gardening. You just take some seeds, what have you, go around, plant it, forget it. And I actually stumbled upon, I'll show you this too, but I stumbled upon some corn that was done that way. I was here the other day, and all of a sudden, even I forget about it, but it looks like I drove over it. That's what happened. There was one, two. Oh, there was a third stalk here. Oh yeah, there. That's just, I think when I planted the other corn, I had extra seeds in it. Put them around. I did that with squash too, so, but we'll see. Yeah, so as it stands, this is, yeah, getting mulched right now. And yeah, the stuff is buried, but I know where the stuff is with the rope. Wherever the grass was, I don't know how the grass honestly peeks through this. Like, I put heavy layer of cardboard under this, and then I put the compost on top, and then yeah, this. So I just put some more cardboard on there. I just wet it down so it does not wick so much absorb water. We had a good rainfall yesterday, so everything is still quite moist. The hay is moist, or the straw. So I'm just gonna cover that all up, get that squirreled away, and then probably go for a break after that. But see where the see where the day goes. All right, well, the mulching is done, so there we go. Went around, cleaned the plants, and yeah, it looks good. See how that holds up, and I think it'll be a lot nicer back here. So we'll see how the tomatoes like that. And you know, it's just like I said, this is a new area, so this was made this year, and trying different methods. And you know, because you see how you start a new area of ground, everybody and their dog has a different way of doing it, and so I'm just trying to take different pieces from everywhere and seeing what actually works here. You know, people use different tools and they get good results, but it's just what works here. That's my question. All right, so break's done, and I got some projects on mind, and one of the things I want to do is make compost tea. And basically you make tea, like you just make tea like you would, but with compost. And the idea is that you need to aerate it so it doesn't go anaerobic. So I found the other day an old aquarium pump, and but I don't have an air stone. That's the issue. So I'm going to make an air stone-ish. A way of diffusing the the air. So here's the idea. I'm going to take another hose, and I'm going to make it full of holes, and I'm going to essentially I just printed off this tee. So it's a hose tee. It's a nice thing about having a 3D printer. I built a thing years ago, but it still comes in handy. And then yeah, I'll connect two of these, and then the air essentially just goes into this ring, and it should bubble up. You know, maybe it's not as fine as an air stone, but this is what I can make on with the stuff I have here. So that's the idea. Yeah, I'm just gonna let that go, and then I still need to run uptown and pick up my major award. I won a lot at the auction, a small animal trap, and I think there was a light in there, there was a clamp, and some other trash. But for $8 I couldn't beat it. But yeah, I'll have to do that, and then maybe I'll stop by the greenhouse because they're having a 2-for-1 sale because they're closing this Saturday, tomorrow I guess, the 24th. Yeah, and then yeah, I'd like to do a little bit more mulching. I want to get the the grain field mulched over, take the last of the straw out of there, maybe run it through with the push-pull hoe, and then run some straw over there, because it's better to have that mulched in too. You know, let's keep the moisture in the ground, and kind of go from there. I'm trying to formulate some thoughts. I have a list of stuff that needs to be done, I guess. I have stuff that I have on the list, but it's you know, if you find yourself sitting around doing nothing, kind of a list. But yeah, we'll see where things go from here. Well, I'm trying to clean a little bit between the rows of the corn, sorghum, and I want to get rid of the grass. And I tell you what, doing that with a hoe is stupid hard work. it just takes time, and I'm gonna just mulch it over anyways, and better there's a ground cover in there anyways. But the biggest thing is like, oh, you don't want the other stuff in there because it's going to be competing with the corn. For resources, well, just make more resources. You mulch it in and you get more water. But I also found out that I like to cut the grass a little bit shorter and then throw some mulch on there. So I cracked out this one. I was looking for one a while back. My brother found it at auction, so I got from him. And yeah, it's just wide enough. Or I see narrow enough to go right between the rows. You see I did that one. Some of the rows are not, I don't know how I spaced them always, but some, like, it gets cheeky with some of them, and so I skip those, and I can do what I do and then go from there. And I just lay heavy, just get the straw on there and go from there, because it works quite well for the squash so far. And you can see they're really doing well. And there's, that is heavily mulched back there. Actually, I could pull a lot of that mulch back. It was the actual intent for it. But yeah, heavy mulching like that just works really nicely. So I'll go see where this ends up. Alright, so I got done mulching what I could. I ran out of mulch. So I had an old square bale that's been sitting there for 2-3 years. And it was good and rotten on the bottom, I say that. But I got basically all the corn mulch. And you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. It would have been nice to finish just this one row, and because the corn probably needs the mulch much more than the sorghum. Sorghum is very drought tolerant, that's why I picked it. So yeah, you can just see it looks, it looks quite pretty. I like it. So yeah, that's one thing done down. It's something I wanted to do. There's something I want to do more here. You know, growing under mulch. That's the same principle that I want to do with grains as well. You know, basically put the straw back on the field and or sow the seed from the grain you harvested, and then put the mulch back on, the straw back on. So there's that. And the pineapple, it was all mowed down last week, but yeah, a lot of it's coming back up. A lot of people, they just pick the flowers because there's a lot of flavor in there too, and it's not a bad idea. But yeah, I'm just sitting down cooking some eggs, and I got a hive that looks to be swarming on me. I don't think it's swarming, I think it's just absconding, to be honest. It's leaving. It's the one that barely scraped through the winter, so it's yeah, I don't know. It's the one hive I didn't catch. It's I think they're Australian in origin, but okay. Well, they were all up in the air here, and now it's just business as usual. I have no idea what is going on with these bees. My best guess is, okay, these bees are a weird bunch. I hope the best for them, but I've had them all go out the hive and they all come back in. And then the next day I found a little cluster on top of the roof with a queen in amongst them, of all things. Okay, I put the queen back in the hive. I figured maybe that was a new one. Maybe it was a virgin and she was trying to get out. I don't know. I said, you know what? You can go back in the hive, because it seemed like you had very few followers anyways. And if there's two queens in the hive, the best one win. But now they were just, I was just, 5 minutes ago, they're all out again. And I looked, they were back in. My best guess is maybe they're orientation flights for new bees. Maybe a bunch of them all hatched at the same time. Maybe they come in batches, and they're all taking the orientation flight at the same time, because that's what they'll do when they're old enough. They orient to where the hive is, and because there's quite a good traffic in front there now compared to what it was. But either way, I digress. I'm curious to see where they go this season, but also a little update. Look at that. We're getting some angel's trumpet too. I have a feeling this is all borage. So see what comes out of it. But yeah, and last week I figured out where the bees were going. They're all going up in the oak trees. So it's an interesting piece that I found out this morning. So there's no real nectar in the oak tree. There's pollen, but there's something called honeydew, and all honeydew is these little insects, I think they're insects, aphids. They go on a leaf, they pierce the leaf, they drink the sap, but they're not after the sugar. They're more after the amino acids in the leaf. But they feed on that, and what they excrete has a large sugar content, and that excretion is now is honeydew, and that's what the bees will collect because it's sugar. And so they take that honeydew and they make honey out of it. So it's a honeydew honey, and it has a slight different properties than nectar honey, but it's still honey in the end. I just find it fascinating and a little bit interesting that it is the excreted product of an insect that has been regurgitated by another insect. It came out the backside of one and the front side of the other. So it's kind of interesting, and we eat it nonetheless and say it's great. It's good for you. So yeah, that's what they're all up and about. They were all up in the oak trees. It was fascinating. But yeah, honeydew. Learn something new every day. Alrighty, so I just came back from the auction and I got my stuff. So there's 2 work lights in there, one of those halogen bulbs. One of them's an odd one though. It's like a homemade piece. It's got like a clamp on there, and it's got terminals that you hook up to a battery, I guess. But either way, big glass octagon. I guess it's for a light or something. I have no idea what I'd do with that, but who knows? Maybe put a candle in there. Bottom has a crack in it, but the one thing I was looking at, and it's this small animal trap. I'm like, oh. I just figured out how it works, and it's pretty. It's a clever design. I'll say that. It's very simple. Well, so yeah, animal steps on here, and then it closes. But it's there's a little detent spring here. You just push it in, pull it up, and okay, yeah, just pull this one, and there's a little bit of there's a tab on there, and there's and the rod sticks. There's a rod that goes back there, and that's what hooks onto the door. So you can see that's what holds the door up, and that piece, it wants to go forwards, and then you just this is just what's going to hold it in place. And so when it moves, the weight of the door, let's see, yeah, it's very simple. I like that. So Chipmunk better watch himself. Peppy's on hiatus, so I have to do pest management on my own terms now. I don't know, maybe he's still prowling around. I'm not sure. He's on his sabbatical. Trying to figure out where I go from here. I was thinking I might spread some more mulch in the rows there, because I do have another source of mulch, and that is in the form of oak leaves. So I do have these. Might as well use them, clean up the place a bit, and then you add stuff to it. Now this stuff is wonderful stuff if it's clean, and that's the problem with when you source from other people's trash. I remember looking, oh yeah, you look through here and all of a sudden, yeah, cigarette butts. That's not what I want in my garden. Yeah, so stuff like that, it gets annoying, but that's why also, yeah, I know it's in this bag. So the other ones, they look pretty good though. I have used them. Some sticks in there I don't care for. I'd sooner just have the leaves, but now we'll see what we do with it. We'll put the mower somewhere else, and I'll have to check the plug on that at some point, but yeah, kind of figure out where I go from here. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon that's happening by one of the beehives. As you can see, that's very busy, but upon closer inspection, oh, I don't see them anymore. Well, I see some. You see, I don't know if it's easy to pick up or not, but you see a lot of these bigger bees in there. Those are the males, the drones. They're coming in and out too, so there's one right there on the entrance. You can see they got these really big eyes. They're bigger than the rest. There's another one. So I guess it's the right time of it's the nice weather, and looks like all the males are going out and, well, trying to get lucky, I guess. Which, funny enough, if they do, that's the end of them. So they don't come back after that. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's really busy. So curious to see that. But yeah, when I looked, it was like there was a good amount of drones in there. So I guess it's mating time. I'm just looking at the other one and back to business as usual. Yeah, what a confusing hive, I don't get it. But yeah, it's curious to see what's going on over there. But yeah, we can scavenge some wood afterwards. It looks like they're clearing some bush for some new land. We'll plant more crop, I guess. So yeah, we'll see where things go. I also, what is it? See all that white clover there? I got more of it kicking around, but the nice thing about this is since I don't cut it, I can harvest the seed heads, make a clover seed, and then what would be nice is actually to plant clover in the corn. It keeps low, it's basically a living mulch, and it fixes nitrogen, so it's kind of a win-win, especially with corn being such a heavy feeder. So, and I would like to actually get clover established in that patch, and then, you know, I don't know how big it would get before seeding, but you could always just mow the whole thing down, seed, and let it come back up again. So I'm toying around with that idea. Well, I used what leaves I had left, and I got a few more rows there, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, so long as the corn was covered, I was pretty happy with that. I mean, it would be nice if everything was filled in. That was the original idea, but, well, your mulch only goes so far sometimes. And yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, sorghum should be drought tolerant, so keep it at that. So then I'm just going to clean up and then go from there. Alrighty, so I went out and I went to see what the excavator was all about. Yeah, they're just clearing my land. So I went out. It was nice-ish. It was a nice piece of land, I'll say that. I've been hearing noises over there all day. No, I just went by, stopped by the little gravel pit there, and was looking for some clay. I found some, so that's nice. And I got ideas. I needed a clay source for some seeding techniques that I picked up. So that's nice. But right now I go home and think about. I got another project in mind, depending on the time. So see how that goes. Alright, so then I'm gonna kind of wrap up the day. For me it's a little early, but I have plans tonight, so yeah, I just ran the mower for a bit, cut another strip of grass, kind of seeing how that turns out. And I checked the plug. I ran the mower today, and you know, moving the cart and everything. I guess that doesn't work it over much because the plug looked very clean, like either or. So yeah, I adjusted just a wee bit. Actually already sounds better. It looked a little lean in my opinion, so I gave it a little more gas. I feel like I'm on the home stretch for dialing that thing in. So I'll check the plug probably tomorrow and see where it sits. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm just here by the bees again. I find myself often here, but I'm just looking at you know, stuff that's. I remember this comfrey was planted, you know, a couple weeks ago. It's coming back nice. And the other stuff's too. I'm just looking at the bees too. It's the traffic has died down a bit. But tomorrow I'll go look in there, see if they have enough frames, expand them if necessary, and go from there. Yeah, it's been I don't know. That's a good day. I'll say that. Stuff got done. So, I'm going to leave it there for today, and I'll see you on tomorrow.